downed a whole bottle. Then we took a few tabs, or something like that. And then we went out into your hallway, snatched that shit up, fucked that shit up.
It's the same thing with cannabis. The way it used to work in cannabis is if, we would get like growers that would come from NorCal, and there's so much weed being grown in California. It's incredible. And it's really good weed too. And they would come down with their truck and their grungy hands and their 100, 200, 500 pounds of weed in the back of the truck, and they would drive around to dispensaries peddling their wares, you know what I mean? And then, so like I would create relationships with people where I'd be like, oh, this guy's got a really good green thumb, right? And he's going to produce, say, 50 pounds at a time or whatever it was of this really unique strain or just a really high end quality product. And I would buy all of it off of him so that, none of my competitors could get a taste of it. And now as the word goes around town, oh, this really good weed is only at Larry's shop, right? You can't get it from Johnny's shop. You got to go to Larry's shop. And as the grower loved me because now he comes down, he does one trip, he comes to me, I clean him out. He goes home with a stack of cash, right? He doesn't have to spend 5 days in town driving around, waiting on owners of dispensaries to give him the time of day. So, he loves me. I love him because I get this product that is really desirable and I have it. And that was a relationship that I built over years and over time. And that was why you as a customer would come to my store, right? Because I have something unique that you can't get. And now with the distribution model, that whole thing has gone away, right? Because our relationship doesn't matter anymore because I have to sell to a third, the grower that I have a relationship with has to sell to somebody else who can then sell to me. But that distributor doesn't have an incentive to only sell to me. They have an incentive to distribute to multiple parties. You know what I mean? And also like now everything's prepackaged, Boyle. So what that means, like the number one selling product, say, is an eighth of weed, right? So 3.5 grams or so of dry flower is the number one selling thing in the cannabis market. And what I used to do is buy multiple pounds of weed and then break it down into smaller units and sell it at a profit margin, right? Now you buy a pound of weed in 3.5 gram increments. You get me?
So they've I get you, yeah. So they've taken away two advantages that you would have had. One of the advantages is the relationships you build and finding certain artisan type growers, and the other thing is the margin you make on buying the pounds. So they've
it's the opposite of retail, right? You're supposed to buy wholesale as a retailer and then sell retail. But in this case, you're actually buying retail, right? Because you're not buying a pound, you're buying 128 eighths. That's ridiculous.
Fuck, that is so stupid. So that's a little sneak peek of this week's Degenny Diaries. If you would like to hear the rest of the episode, you can subscribe to my Patreon. All the episodes of the Degenny Diaries and any bonus content will be found on the Patreon. You can find the link to the Patreon in the description of this podcast, or just head to boylecomedy.com and the link is on my website. It's extremely important to me that I never have to advertise on this podcast. I don't want to have to shill a fucking product to earn a living. So the subscribers of the Patreon are the lifeblood of the podcast. You make it all worthwhile. So if you enjoy the podcast, if you get anything out of it, then subscribe to the podcast. It's £1 a month. Become a true Degenny. Support Le Boyal. Your support is unbelievably meaningful to me. So I'll see you over there, and I'll see you the fuck later.